Can I see what yeah, it's something I'll deal with, whatever. Well, it's been a pretty eventful last couple of hours. I had originally planned to stream earlier today, and I tried to for about an hour out in the parking lot, and I really didn't like the way uh, it turned out. As far as the connection, wasn't that great, and it was taking too long to even have anyone show up. So I just decided I'll make one more attempt, and then I'll throw in the towel if it still isn't working up to par. I have to say, this has been a really irritating week for the reasons that we laid out on Monday. I'm just reminding myself I have to stream on Monday again. Um, I'd say the worst thing out of any of the stuff that happened was probably the nonsense where I got these pair of glasses probably about 3 or 4 months ago, and I wasn't even really using them that often, because they were mostly just like a backup pair, and I started using them more often, like as this like within the last month or so, and they broke on me. I was in the bathroom and I like touched the side, and the frame broke. So the I could still technically use it, but it like the lens like just can it's fallen out a few times. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just see if I can get some glue or some tape or something. It's just irritating. But I was surprised by the fact that the pair I've had for 7 or 8 years, they're still going strong. But then the new ones from this year, you have it for a few months and then it breaks on you. There's a commentary in there about how poor the quality of a lot of this stuff is. Terrific. I was also thinking of just saying to hell with the stream and uploading a video instead, but it's difficult to do that because for some reason with the Wi-Fi, it does this thing where it'll stick. What do you call it? It'll basically, what's the way of putting it? Just not even bother. Like it won't even. It takes forever, like a long time to upload something. You could have a 5 minute video and it tells you it'll take an hour and a half to stick it on there. And I said, well, if it takes this long to put up a video, I might as well just try to do a stream again. God, what a lousy week. I tried as hard as I could to keep that house of cards in tow, but when people want to let you go, then they will. Do I have the bag over here? I don't think I do. Yeah, originally I was gonna do a thing because sometimes when I don't have my glasses on, I'll just use my phone to see the messages. But I forgot to put on the charger when I got back about an hour ago, and I just decided I'd rather charge it than use it for this purpose. Oh God, these job interviews were. It's like they're from another dimension. It really is. Wednesday, I get called by this lady, and she's doing the same old giggly. Yeah, but she's doing that same old giggly nonsense that you've heard time and time again from these people. Let's see if this thing. I'm getting flashbacks to some of my earlier streams where you could actually hear the phone ringing in the background. I was saying that person did this little giggly voice thing where she's like, "Oh, do you how are you? Are you all right? What's up?" You know, the little crap. And that led to me getting scheduled for an interview on Thursday. And the Thursday one was on Zoom. And I haven't really mentioned before, but I really despise Zoom. It's one of my least favorite creations of mankind because every time someone calls or uses that stupid thing, they always like mess it up, or they don't speak to you at the time that they said they would. Let me just stick this thing in. Yeah, there we go. So what I'm conveying is here is that they'll schedule something on there and they either don't show up or there's some kind of little weird tech stuff happening. Because usually with phone calls, somebody will schedule a call and then they'll either call you at that time or they'll send you a message and say, "Hey, I got preoccupied. Can we reschedule?" Zoom is just a whole beast of issues. So Thursday arrives. They want me to talk to them at, I think it's 1 o'clock. I'm forgetting the time because there was another place that did the same thing on Friday or yesterday rather. And I acquiesce. I get in the stupid call and I'm waiting there, just sitting there going, duh, 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 duh. And about 15 minutes passes with just no one showing up. And this is really weird because they told me to come at a certain time. I'm here at the certain time and then no one's there. So after this really weird thing happens, I send them a message. I say, "Hey, listen, I came at the time you said I was supposed to come. Why you're not here is anyone's guess." So as I'm getting ready to, I guess, depart from my domain, I start getting a call from them, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we apologize greatly." Da, da, da." So I speak to the lady, and she runs through all the different stuff relating to the position, and tells me that in 24 hours I should hear whether I've been hired or not, or do they want to move forward. And 24 hours passes, and nothing has happened. So we already know how that went out, how that turned out, rather. Then later that same day, I'm just driving around and I get a call from somebody and they're like, "Oh, I'd like to interview you for my position. And can we speak tomorrow at 11:30?" Tomorrow is Friday, which was yesterday. So Friday comes 11:30 in the morning. I'm sitting in front of the computer waiting for the idiots on Zoom and just nothing. Uh, yeah, the Starbucks' Wi-Fi is all over the place. It's hit or miss. Sometimes I go up there, it's really good. Other times it's really bad. Today they did a really interesting trick where usually if a stream's Wi-Fi isn't working good, it'll say connection is unstable or some other type of message. In this instance, it just like it kept playing the stream, and I had to like look on my end or like on the end of someone who's watching it to notice that they stopped recording it after the first 6 minutes. So it was me talking for like another 10 or so, and just it was bad. Um, but anyways, I'm sitting here on this Zoom call and I'm waiting for this person to show up. 20 minutes goes by, hear nothing from them. I say, "Hey, I've been sitting in this Zoom call for 20 minutes. What happened?" The guy's like, "Weird, I've been here too." So then I speak to him and he tells me to enter in this because a lot of Zoom calls they have a ID number and then a passcode. So you enter the ID, then the passcode to get into the different various rooms that people make in there. And I do this, so I say, "Hey, okay, well, let me give me the passcode, whatever number." He gives me one number and he says this will work for both the passcode and the other one. It works for the ID. When I enter for the passcode, it says incorrect. So then he just kind of like disappears for a few hours. Then announces that he uh he wants to reschedule and speak on Monday. And I'm just sitting there laughing because I agreed to the Monday thing, but it was just funny because I'm just thinking to myself, 2 days in a row with this stupid website of Zoom, and both times, both days in a row, rather, you had the person who scheduled the interview either late to it or there was some kind of technical difficulty where they couldn't do it at the exact time they said that I was supposed to come. That's really weird, but Whatever, people want to make things more difficult for themselves. I don't know what the fascination with Zoom is, because my thing is, if you're going to speak to somebody one on one, voice to voice, why do you need to have them sit in front of a computer? Because all it does is screw me up even more. Because I was going to go to this, I think it was a job fair on like Thursday or Wednesday. I couldn't go because the time I was scheduled to go would mean I would have to like right after leaving the thing be on the internet to talk to these people on Zoom. It was just too much. But it's one of those things where if it was voice to voice, phone to phone, it would be easier because I don't have to worry about getting in front of Wi-Fi connections and am I by the internet, or it's just it was just a big hassle for nothing. But that's what a lot of places like to do. They love giving hassles. No, next place that says they're talking to me on Zoom, it better be some conference call, or they have to show me a PowerPoint or something. I just don't get the point of using that website when it's just two people talking. Two people speaking. You have to get on a site that they use for conferences. I like how each time that I see the interviewer, they're always sitting in front of a green screen. They always want to make sure you can't see what's behind them. And it's funny too, because sometimes the green screen like doesn't. They'll wear some kind of shirt where it messes with the color of the screen because it's the same. Because when you're in front of a green screen, you're not supposed to wear green, or like whatever the color that you're trying to reflect on the camera. So they actually mess up their own stuff. These places are just run by some very, very unprofessional, very strange individuals. Like I can't even believe that the amount of stuff that's required just to talk to one of these people, and just how often they'll say they want to interview you, and just vanish and disappear and be late to their own crap. That's a very common occurrence. Hmm. Yeah, I wasn't even expecting Jove to show up because I figured he was probably still asleep from watching that coronation all night. That's what I figured was the reason for this week's absence, because there were so many people that just watched that thing all day long. It was this big grand event, first time in 70 years. So if people don't show up, you know what they're watching or what they watched. I was just thinking it's kind of ironic that the last time CNN did a live stream at 2 or 3 in the morning, it probably was the Markle wedding, because I saw some of that on their live feed. It's always just weird having like these news stations. I'm so used to them at midnight hours, just like playing reruns, that when they're actually up and about and broadcasting in some whole different time zone, where for me it's 2 in the morning and for them it's like 10 in the morning. It's just, I don't know. It's always like you could tell it's a special event. Oh, there were a lot of people who weren't British that were into that stuff. Hell, there are a lot of people that aren't Americans. They have an inauguration. Uh, they're doing live streams in Japan, all other kind of places. I mean, I was more interested in the social aspect of it because CNN did a little town event, or whatever you want to call it, where they just kind of interview people that live in the area, and they were talking about how a lot of people feel as if the royal family is out of touch for spending so much money on all this extravagant crap for a 1 day ceremony and then having all these poor people living around in the UK. That's starting to become a more and more noticeable thing. The disparity between the rich and the not even like the poor, but like just the middle class. Like I mentioned, when I went to Alabama, they have these really beautiful uh, cities and places like Tuscaloosa and to an extent Montgomery, and then you go over to like Birmingham and you see all these cracked up houses, and it was like, wow, a lot of states are like that where they have these different parts that look really really nice and pretty and prestigious or whatever, and then you get to certain parts and it's just run down and raggedy and you know decrepit. So that was the part that interested me more. I mean, because like my thing with Charles is he's not even like he's just an intermediate monarch. He's someone that's gonna have that for maybe like 10 to 15 years at maximum, and then his son will take over. He's just whatever to me. But I was just saying that it was I was more interested in just the stuff surrounding it versus the actual event. Like how apparently Harry showed up, but then his wife didn't. But it is a very interesting aspect of society when you have these countries and states where there's a part of it that looks really nice and really terrific, and then there's another part that's run down and decrepit and dilapidated. Because that's basically what the people were saying when they were interviewing them. Also, the reason that Jove didn't write anything else is because he's watching some live stream footage of the coronation. He wanted to make sure he saw it in 4K 1080p. He's getting it in all the Blu-ray quality. It's really crazy to think that because of how long Queen Elizabeth was like on the throne, they've only ever had two televised not inaugurations, coronations. Like out of all of them, and there's only two of them have been happened since the advent of TV, and one of them went back when TV was still black and white. That just shows you how long she was on the damn throne. Like Jesus. Apparently somebody's calling, but I'm not answering. I've answered enough calls for uh for the time being. And if you don't answer their calls, they leave you a very nasty voicemail or text message where they're like shaking their fists. So answered the phone enough times for the day. It had to be something really important, and usually it is, and it's always something goofy. I have a lot of text messages that come from different like politicians begging for money. Those people never let up. They'll call you and send you a message Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And every time they do it, I'm just sitting there like, you guys haven't received anything from me in I don't know how many months. And you're still begging for stuff. I'll take a hint. Yeah, this has been a really irritating week, I can tell you that. Scoot this down a little bit. I had a person who called himself trying to talk. Oh, not that our miserable democracy does much better. Look at what, where, Biden. I don't have my glasses on. That's why it took me a struggle for a moment. Now you're probably going to start the conspiracy theory that I'm on the cognitive decline as well. My vision's on well, it's been declined, but that's an open secret. I still believe in that re-election video. They sped his voice up. Like every time I see him and he talks, you can tell. And I really, I don't have any evidence, but that video, that re-election video, I'm about 90% sure they put his voice in like 1.5x or 1.0x. No, my vision may be on the decline, but I can always remember key events. It's close enough for me to see it to where I don't really need them that much. I still like might have a little bit of trouble on some words, but that's more the font size than like actual vision issues. Because there's some stuff that's just too damn small to read. Like I've had my glass on, I'm still like just because of how tiny it's printed on the paper. Sorry if you have already answered this, but what are your thoughts on JFK Jr.? Um, I mean, he was a person who was famous for being the president's son that spent about 20 something years playing around with whether he would run for office and then died in a very preventable plane crash that a lot of people have provoked conspiracy theories about and tried to say that he was offed by the Clintons, all types of little goofy stuff. But he was, yeah, I don't have a problem. I never had a problem with him. I didn't read, what was it, George magazine, because that folded when I was like a year old. But uh, he seemed like a decent person. I think I much rather would have had him run for Senate than Hillary. Like right there, I didn't know which. I had a feeling you were talking about RFK Jr. because he's like in the news right now, but the other one still gets mentioned quite a bit, despite not running for any office and being famous just for who his daddy was. Um, I'd say just whatever. Like I'd take him over Biden, but I mean that's not really saying much. I'd personally be more excited for 4 years of him than 4 more years of Biden. It's Williamson, then RFK Jr., then Biden, and I'm still not voting for Biden. So oh well. Ugh. Like the vaccine stuff is weird to me, and I really just I'm not a fan of it. But when he starts talking about the corporations controlling politics, he's singing my song. I just am a little bit worried because from the standpoint of visuals and just how nitpicky people are with politicians, him having that vocal condition is probably going to mess up his support from people, unfortunately. And I do say unfortunately because I don't care, like it doesn't bother me, but there's going to be some people that they're just nitpicky like that. He was like, "What are your thoughts on JFK Jr.?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "Hell, I mean, I'm not even. I really wouldn't be surprised if that was the one you meant because he gets mentioned quite a bit." I have to say, of any president's kid who never ran for anything, he's probably the one I hear about the most. Like I hear more about him than Robert Taft. And Robert Taft was considered one of the greatest senators ever. That reminds me, Williamson was on C-SPAN yesterday, and I was gonna do a video where I like cut up the pieces of it, but downloading videos off of C-SPAN is one of the hardest, most obnoxious tasks you can even be called upon to do. So I'll probably just wait for some other story with her in it. He's definitely going to pay a political price for the vaccine stuff, even if he is right to a degree. Well, they're going to have a harder time ignoring him because he has a famous last name. Uh, and I do think he'll be more likely to be hurt in a general election because I think a lot of people just instinctively hear vaccine denier and associate that with like the right wing. So it'll be something that I don't. So I said I really have. I wish that Williamson had the name recognition that he does because I think she would be at like 30 points already at minimum. But that's what happens when you have a media that doesn't want to talk about you. You get ignored, and your surrogates have to go around spreading the gospel. I have to remind the same like two or three people. Biden is being challenged. He has a primary challenge. He has two people run against him because one of them is so goddamn ignorant they don't even know who. Forget Robert RFK Jr. They don't even know the original RFK. Oh God, it's so pathetic, man. They need to do a whole reform of the education system. Like it's really embarrassing. Some of the most basic contemporary or like modern historical figures people just have no idea about. It's really pathetic. Oh, we'll never not be embarrassed of the ignorance of people. It's like, and my thing is like I always say, I don't expect them to know everything, but some of the stuff that they don't know is sad. Dead people won't save us. I don't know what that means, but okay. Oh, if you want to say dead people don't save us, tell that to Christians. They've been saying Jesus got resurrected how long? But yeah, with Williamson, she's just mainly hurt by name recognition, and RFK Jr. doesn't have to worry about that as much. But he's got the anti-vaccine stuff that'll do him in. No, I saw her on C-SPAN. What was that? Friday? Was it Friday? Was Let me see. Yeah, it was no, it was Thursday, and then Fox yesterday. She had the interview with Hannity, and he was being stupid. He's like, I agree that Biden should debate you. Now let me strawman your points and see all types of. They do that same thing where they'll pick some quotation from her about spiritualism and try to like make her sound crazy. It's just people are some real. They're really of not when they want to smear you, they'll do anything they can. Yeah, she's been having a whole bunch of interviews. I don't know. It's always hard for me to will myself to like go and watch Fox's channel because there's just too many lies that get told. By getting a bit but hurt when pressed on some issues. Well, I'll have to just go look for it and see what the what the issues were. I mean, the last time I heard people describing her negatively was during that thing in South Carolina with the guy that was that primaried Clyburn, where they were talking about reparations, and it was some little clip that people were spreading around. Oh man. Donations to DNC and why should people continue donating to the Uniparty? Well, I'm not a. Oh, they asked for that. Um, I mean, people can donate to whoever they want. I typically never donate to the party itself because I don't like most Democrats, if not any, if not any of the ones that would be, I guess, the most likely to be given the money. Nor do I like the RNC, so I usually just donate to specific candidates. So I've never been a supporter of sending the overall party money. The only time you could see me maybe donate to a political party, and that's just because in general, pretty much everyone they run is someone I'm okay with, is probably the Green Party. Other than that, you're not going to see it. Mm. Yeah, if you don't want to donate to the DNC, don't do it. I don't do it. I donate to people I like. But I've never given a single red cent to the Democratic National Committee, not once, or the RNC. I donated during a certain time frame. Never again. My vote, maybe. My money, never. You know what's so sad whenever you have the people who are like against the corporation crap, I'm more inclined to support them versus like, for example, when Hillary became the Democratic nominee, I didn't give 1 cent, or Biden, because it's like, what for? They have their billionaire buddies. Um, but again, if it's someone who's like calling out the oligarchy and talking about money in politics and draining it, no, I'm all for supporting them. It's just that when you get these, in my opinion, lousy candidates in the general, then they can go to hell. They don't need my money. They can't even get my vote, let alone my dollar. Because most people don't donate, so it's like that's an extra step of how much, like, how disassociated you are with them, where you're like, can't get my they can't get my vote, let alone a donation. They can go to hell with that one. Mm. Yeah, I got up this morning to stream, and that Wi-Fi at that place was acting like trash, so I went somewhere else. Oh man, it's really crazy to me that you have a lot of people that are actually. And I was thinking of making a video, but I'm probably not going to do it. Where just like showing all the idiots on Twitter talking about, if you primary Biden, you're going to make him weaker for the general. Just all types of anti-democratic statements from the people who, remember, are trying to save you from the supposed dismantling of democracy by the Republicans, but they're the same ones telling you don't that the way to keep democracy going is to not participate in it. Watching boxing today. I mean, I've never been into it myself, but other people like it. It's up with them. So my favorite saying from the 2020 cycle was from Ron Placone, that former host off of Jimmy Dore show, where he was like, I'm not voting for Biden, and I'm not voting for Trump. I have a cat, so I spend enough time checking a box for a piece of." That's gonna be the same response I give if you ask me which one I support over the others. That was my favorite line of the whole election cycle, because that's really how I felt after what was that, April, start of that year. It's like around, like, I think the start of the second quarter of the year. It was just whatever. But you said, to be honest, you would prefer Trump over. So that means you've been lying up until now. This is the first time you've told the truth since you started typing on this stream. So you've been exposed and outed and revealed and uncovered. Well, you said, to be honest. So you've been lying up until now. You've been nothing but deceitful. This is your first time telling the truth. Yes, and and just as that was a figure of speech, what I said was a joke. That reminds me of that one guy that came on stream, and I was like, I was joking about, I've been so disappointed by his remarks, and I'd like for him to just leave. And he was like, "Are you serious? If I was, why would I ask you to leave when I can just get rid of you myself?" People don't know what a gag is anymore. This thing is still not finished uploading. It's crazy that you can upload a video and it can be like 5, 6 minutes long, and it'll take an hour and a half for the video to upload. And like, you can do an hour and a half stream, and it'll finish the stream before the video finishes uploading. No, I think if you see the general disposition, you'll be able to figure out if the person is just messing with you or not. Plus, there's just certain stuff that you can tell it's not serious. Like, what's good? I'm trying to give a good example. I'll think of something, but it's not. I'm not even inclined to try to argue with somebody over that type of stuff. Hey, I've managed to catch this stream. I'm glad this stream seems more stable. Oh, Megumi, you'll love to. Did you see what was it? The most blamed man of all time for the beginning of the new trilogy. Did you get the update that was revealed there? No, Starbucks' Wi-Fi today was terrible. I didn't go to the same one I usually go to because it's like further away. But I had tried to stream from there, and it did. Usually, when the stream doesn't work, the Wi-Fi's out, it does this thing where it says connection is unstable. I had to look on the damn phone, like view it from the perspective of someone watching it, to find out that the thing was acting up. I sure did, and that was absolutely crazy, and insane, dude. I was astonished. Just want you to keep in mind what happened. You pay one something a month every month, right? On the first. and then this person gets mad at you because you won't show them the security code on your pass for your credit card, which is nobody's business. So they're like, you can get the expletive out of here, and then next month you will pay 500 a month, and then for the whole month, not only do they say nothing about this, like you remember because you just how crazy it was, but they also start acting a little bit nicer toward the end of it because they get into some arguments with their other relatives. Then at 10 in the morning, right after you wake up on Monday, this past Monday, Zell me 500. I was like, what? So I left. Oh, by the way, Megumi, I just want to throw this in there. Because during that stream, I read the message that they wrote, and they said it had a part where they're like, I don't care who you show or tell. And then yesterday, I received a message from them because I haven't spoken to them since Monday, where they said, stop telling people I kicked you out. It's like, wait a second. So you said last month, I don't care who you show or tell, but then you're also saying stop telling people, which I don't even know what people they're talking about, but whatever. Because I'm I give this exact same version of events to like every individual person that's involved with this. So it's just one of those things where like if they don't care who's shown or told, why do they care about the way it's told? Man, the worst relatives of all time. I received two messages from them since this thing happened on Monday. And those two messages weren't, hey, are you all right? I haven't heard from you in days. Are you okay? It was Tuesday, it was drop off your keys. And then Friday, it was the other thing. Friday, they sent me this giant wall of text. It was so big, I couldn't even. That message that they wrote me was so long that I don't even. I think I could just barely screenshot it all. Like it took up the whole damn phone. I was going to ask you, did that did you become somewhat due to their yes, their ridiculous ultimatum, yes. Well, you understand over there, I was already kind of like cramped. So, but again, I still like paid the thing that they wanted each month. So to get mad and be like, now you will go from paying 119 to 500, uh, you know, is like, well, hell, this is stupid. Because I made this point to some of the people that are not able, they don't have the best comprehension skills. Um, in the hypothetical, if I had paid the 500 this month and then next month after that, and I keep having to shell out money to get myself something to eat, in addition to gas to drive to these different interviews, I will eventually run out because these places are still like not hiring. We saw what happened last month where I applied to places every single day and drove different interviews and spoke to different people in interviews just throughout that whole month and nothing improved. So basically, I would eventually run out anyway, and then they would just tell me to get out of there, at some later point because it's unsustainable. I definitely understand your reason for not accepting that. Dude, it's just so sad because it's like you do what this person wants, and then they're just Jove, don't get banned. Like I'm not in the mood. Honestly, it's not difficult to work out. I mean, it's not like you're working. They don't care. I tell you what happens is that a lot of these people, the first week or maybe month where you're not working, they're sympathetic. Oh, it's hard. But after a few months, they convince themselves that this is just a choice you made, regardless of how much proof there is to the contrary. So the fact that you go to interviews, that you talk over the phone with these different employers, that you're driving around town to all their crap. Oh, get this test here, get this prescription there, get this uniform here. They don't care. And like I said, this is the same person who you want to talk about somebody being lazy and just sitting around. This person, from the time I started living with them back in January, they've been doing it before that, but it's just when I started noticing. They have a full-time job that they actively miss at least 8 hours of every single week. So this week, right? They missed. They weren't at work on Monday, which is why that thing happened that morning, because they probably would have waited until they got off of work to do it. In that, if in the hypothetical where they went to work, they didn't work on Tuesday. They worked for part of Thursday, I guess, and then went to the doctor. And the week before that, they didn't work on Thursday or Friday. The week before that, they missed 2 days. And I said to myself, how the hell can you sit here and try to pressure somebody about getting a job when you actively don't go to your own damn job? You think if I need $500, I'm going to miss 2 days of work every week? Hell, if that person had worked those what 6 days of work they missed in the last 3 weeks, there's 500 right there. And that's even if you're working for minimum wage, which they're slightly above it from what I understand. So this is about someone trying to get something out of a person by breaking an agreement that we had. And then when you don't respond well to them breaking the agreement, they lash out. Well, they don't care. Like I said, I haven't spoken to them since Monday. They've sent me 2 messages, and neither of them were showing any regard for my well-being. The one on Tuesday was drop off your keys, which I'm not doing because they're like it. I'm not about to like go over to somebody's place just to rip keys off my own. It's stupid. And then Friday, the message yesterday was some big giant cry baby, woe is me, smallest violin crap. Just trash, man. I mean, it's like if you play. I'll give you an example. It would be if you played a video game and you beat it, and then like the same company, instead of just making a new game, they put up like a collection game, and they're like, all right, you can buy these games again, and it's the same games, but they're just packaged together. That's what that giant paragraph piece of trash that they wrote me was yesterday. All the greatest hits. You're so disrespectful. Even though you being respectful had nothing to do with me trying to increase the amount you pay every month times five, but I felt like I should throw that in there. If you were employed, I can understand their reasoning for expecting you to pay this increased amount, although I still think the 5 times increase is ridiculous nonetheless. Well, listen, what I was trying to convey to you is even if I got hired somewhere, because we know how the hire to fire scheme goes, right? Let's say I work at a place for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because I don't get to determine how long I'm there before they, get to kicking somebody out the door. Even if I work somewhere for a month and paid the 500 for that particular month, I could get fired, um, within a few weeks. And then what am I going to do the next month? Have this person tell me, where's my 500? Get the hell out of here. Like that's why I said you're just delaying the inevitable. Like I just said, instead of trying to acquiesce to their ridiculousness, I'm just going to go. They don't care about being unfair. They break their own agreements, then you're supposed to feel bad. Yeah, that's true. You'll be screwed either way. Yeah, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And you should have seen the little taunting like way they were talking to me on Monday. I told you to get a job. But at the same time, it should be on their conscience that you're living. They don't care and be concerned for your well being. Well, like I said, 2 messages since I left, and neither of them are about, are you okay? Are you all right? Because I told you before, family and relatives and all the rest of this stuff, they are here for show and not, like just for display. They don't actually care about the people that they're related to, which is why if you can't give them half $1,000 starting, this month, they'll be fine with you just going to hell. Let me see. Angel says, "Have you thought about entrepreneurship, starting your own business, and may be helpful?" Well, I don't know what that business would be. Hey, Megumi, remember the empathy eclipse stream where we were talking about how hard it is to get a job, and then the guy was talking about become a dentist, and then when he wanted to pivot from that, he was talking about moving to Texas, and then when he wanted to pivot from that, he was trying to say that I was making up how expensive apartments in California are, even though I went on the site and showed the numbers. But it's just this is what they do. They always find a way to make it your fault. So get ready for something weird. It's on its way. It's crazy how I gave that stream that title. I didn't even know that guy was going to appear. Like I thought I was going to come on there and talk about, like screwed up economic stuff over here, and then that happened. I was like, oh no. Oh, by the way, Megumi, is it true that the real reason you didn't come earlier is because you were at the palace watching the coronation of King Charles, and they were giving you your treats and ornaments for being such a upstanding civilian as participate in the first coronation in 70 years? Man, when I turned on that TV, it was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and they were playing that stuff. Hell no, I never went there. When I turned on that TV and they were playing that stuff, and I had my glasses off because Magumi, you didn't catch the like crap stream I was doing earlier, but I got a new. These are the original pair I've always had. I got a new pair of glasses um, at the start of the year, and at the discretion of the same person that just was like, get out of here. And it's almost like in a poetic fashion. When I went to take a shower, yeah, because I always like put my glasses somewhere just like off to the side, whatever, go take a shower. In like the most poetic fashion, the same week that began with the person who told me to get those glasses saying, get out of here, the glasses broke like on the side. Here, let me give you an example. Like right here on this side, they just snapped. Now, not these, and that was the point I was making, that like I've had these way longer, and never experienced any like damaging like that. But then ones I've only had for less than half a year, snapped on the sides. Like they don't make them like they used to. You should give at least some thought as to what they could be misinterpreting as disrespect, or what basis could they have. You seem like there's always something. I did watch it a little bit of the live stream coronation outside. There were many traffic queuing up in the direction of Buckingham Palace. People camping and waiting outside, etc. They made it sound like they were going to a music concert. Um, Jove, when you have someone who's upset with you over something that they decided to change, which was the amount of money I pay every month, and they get into these long-winded tangents about, this, that, or the other, disrespect gets thrown around because it's just a word that they like to use. So if I had paid them the 500 on Monday, then I wouldn't be like, out or whatever, and there would be no mention of disrespect at all. It's literally them just circling around to some other stuff, because I mean that's what I'm saying, that like it means nothing. It's just a term that they use when they're trying to like make somebody feel bad. Why the hell would I respect somebody that's fine with me being homeless? Like what logic is there to that? You get what you gave, and just like Eddie Murphy's dad say, if you didn't give nice, you're not going to get nice. And yeah, unfortunately, a lot of things they make these days are not durable. I guess a sly attempt at getting people to come back and buy more. Well, I could try to get them repaired, but that's going to be like I didn't even want to imagine. It was 300 to get those things. Maybe another 100. I'm irritated. Because like I said, these have like kind of lenses that aren't that clean. They've got cracks in them. I've had them for years, but I'll take what I can see out of and not have to hold in a certain way over, something that I got less than a half a year ago, and it still is. It acts like that. No, quality of this stuff is terrible. You can, and you know what drives me crazy is that like I only was using the other pair when I was driving places, so I would still, if I was just in my home trying to read something, put these on, watch something, and see what's on TV, put these on. Like I really only got active use of the other pair rather for probably about a month and a half. They were very short lived. Just like with Apple's computers, where after 3 years they all start acting like trash. Honestly, feels like a scam sometimes when you invest in these things. Oh yeah, remember it wasn't even my idea to get another pair because I feel like my vision is about the same as it's been since I first got the other pair in 2015. Uh, and vision is not like cancer or some other type of thing that grows inside you. When your vision is acting up, you can tell. You're like, hey, I can't see this. So I never felt that way, and it was just this other person, doing their fake concern, uh, and saying you should get another pair. It's been so long. No, Jove, their basis was you didn't pay this new amount that I want you to pay, so get out of my house. And actually, I never told this story, but I committed a very sinful act after that. The week after they wrote that first message, the one about like paying 500, and the sinful act was going to a museum. I kid you not. And they put like, and this is a week after I paid the thing last time when it was like 100. And during the argument we had, they put their hand up and said, "Get out of my house." A week after I paid the bill. So even if you pay bills somewhere, if you don't pay as much as these people do, they think you're just this disposable trash that they can throw out and get rid of and make homeless. And they don't care. That's why I said I don't feel bad about skipping the 500 on Monday because I'm like, hell, if this person's gonna have me paying that and then feel like they can just throw me out anytime they want, which they're going to do when I eventually run out from having to pay half a thousand every month while I'm unemployed, to hell with it. I don't know then you or the situation, but I've seen a million situations, and not once was it exactly what one party said. Okay, well, hell, if we start playing that game, then I might as well not believe anything you relate or talk about. Because you say you've seen a million situations, and not once was it exactly what one party said. Well, how do we know that you've really seen a million situations? Maybe it's only been 100,000, or 10,000, or 100, or 10, or zero. I'll tell you where do they come from with this? Well, if you don't believe what I'm saying, I have screenshots. I can go in my phone right now and screen. I'm not screenshotting that crap they sent me on Friday because I don't want to look at that trash again. But none of this is being made up. This is like that exact message of starting next month you will pay 500 a month since I ain't expletive whatever. That's still there. So how is it one side makes something up when you're literally you have the proof? I didn't create that message. I didn't get their phone and send that to myself. People are just too damn suspicious for their own good sometimes. It's really sad. But yeah, I committed a real cardinal sin going to that museum. That was awful. Oh, it's always, yeah. When I paid the 100 something a month, it was my fault that they let me stay there, and it was my fault when they decided to bump it up times five, and I didn't pay it. I told you I had this one relative. They called me yesterday talking about they want to mediate the situation. I said they make it sound like this the Camp David Accords, and they're and I'm Sadat, and the other person is begging, and they're Carter, and they're gonna have us all go into like a little tent room for 10 or 12 days negotiating. I'm like, there's nothing to negotiate. I came over there with the agreement that I'd pay this bill every month. I paid it every month until they jacked up the price on me, talking about I don't need what you pay. It's like, all right, well, forget it. They really tried to make it. It's interesting that like the place I lived before January, their impetus for we can do whatever we want and throw you out, whatever is, oh, you don't pay anything. And then when you pay something, oh, well, we still feel like we can just throw you out. So like that's why I said I shouldn't even bother paying anything, because I told them if the 119 I pay every month is no big deal, why don't you do it? Because listen, 119 is enough for me to eat for damn near a whole month. Like if I just get non-beverage foods, that's under that amount. So they should pay it if it's so damn insignificant. Hell, that's like a whole month or so worth of gas for me. I don't know what this weird sort. So you know what? I'm not even gonna respond. Kati Merchant says, I just hate this mentality that landlords can never be wrong. Gumi says, if that's the case, why do they still want you to pay them 100? So clearly it does matter to them if you pay them that money to them. That's my point, that if it's so insignificant, why don't they do it themselves? I tell you, they always want to minimize your role while playing up their own. People read some of the most insane stuff in these damn chats. Oh yes, you are always right. It's really sad that like as adults, I don't know what Jove is, but like as adults, presumably, we have to sit here and get caught up on this weird stuff. Getting answer over nothing. If you can't handle being told you're wrong, you can exit the conversation. Yeah, I mean, like no one here is forcing you to agree with me. You don't have to participate if you don't want to. If you feel like you're being persecuted and we're trying to convince you of something that there's only one side to, or that there's always two sides to, rather. I just know that if the situation were reversed and I said to somebody, "Hey, pay 119 a month and you can stay over here," and then I get mad at them, and I'm like, "All right, next month it'll be 500," and then that person leaves because they can't pay this while they're unemployed. Nobody would be saying, "Oh, they should have just paid 5 times as much as they were already paying, like you had wanted." They would say, "No, you're the one that broke your agreement with them. They have a right to leave and get away from that nonsensical crap." I know if the situation were reversed, that would be the response. But we talked before about people really have no empathy for each other, and they especially have no empathy for men. So we get the scenarios that we do. We get the bizarre responses, the dragged out answers. It's really sad. I know for a fact if I lived with a Kotsky merchant and I had him paying 200 every month, and then I got mad at him and was like, all right, now you will pay 1,000. You get a nice little 5 times increase, and he said, to hell with that, and left. Nobody would say, well, a Kotsky merchant, maybe you should have just paid the 5 times increase. They would say, no, you came there with an agreement that you would pay this amount every month. That person tripled, or excuse me, 5 times increased the price. And you have a right to say, this is screwed up. This isn't what we agreed to. I'm done. They are just being overtly suspicious and getting caught up on weird stuff, which distracts us all from the actual topic being discussed. Yeah, that's what they do. Man, when they came in there at 10 in the morning talking about Zelmi 500, I was like, 500. And I started packing my stuff. Well, like I said, I have proof of everything that's stated here. They wrote me that in the message at the start of last month, which triggered the whole saga of me applying to place after place after place. So there's receipts of all of this. Imagine if I was if not even a landlord, if I had somebody living with me and I was like, "Hey man, if you want to live over here, just pay 300 a month." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And I get mad and I'm like, "All right, now you'll pay 1,500." They'd be like, "What the hell?" And duck right out of there. Too many people just lack the ability to empathize. It's really sad. Yeah, because like I don't know what he gets out of doing the, maybe something was left out here by the one side that is recounting it. Do I really have to do a stream with the person that's fine with me being homeless to get him to agree with my point of view, or to not doubt the validity of my claim? Like, this is nuts. God, I swear. Oh, people online. What a very irritating group they are. I mean, they remind me of those. I don't know. It just seems like there's a pastime now where the viewpoint of the other side. Well, the other side's viewpoint was, you're paying this amount a month. Now I'm pissed off, so I'm going to make it 5 times as much. Oh, and by the way, if you can't pay this, then get out. And I don't care if you're homeless. It doesn't matter to me. I just want my half a thousand a month. That's their viewpoint. And what is there for me to benefit by considering the viewpoint of the other side? Do they consider my viewpoint as I'm sleeping in my car? Do they consider my viewpoint when I'm having to sit there and count how many pennies I have to get food to eat? Do they consider my viewpoint when I can't even eat half the stuff I want because I have a goddamn microwave? Do they consider my viewpoint when every single day I have to apply to 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 different jobs just to get 2 or 3 interviews? Do they consider my viewpoint when I'm sitting over there trying to figure out where I'm going to sleep at night? What facts? You get what you gave. If they could care less if I'm homeless or unemployed, then I really am. You will not be given one iota of a concern about what they're thinking, because it doesn't matter. We need not consider the viewpoints of those who wouldn't think twice about yours. No, they didn't care. As long as they got their 500 or didn't get it, they didn't care. If no one considers the other's viewpoint, no one gets to concern a resolution. The resolution was we made an agreement. I did what they wanted. They switched it up on me, and then I left. They're the one that broke the agreement. Like, people just they do not think. They do all this whataboutism stuff, and maybe the other side has something. No, because like I said, I'm not like my relatives. I haven't tried to make somebody homeless because they locked the door, or I felt like they should pay 5 times as much as what they already pay. That's not me. That's them. And this is considering the fact that you're unemployed and your current funds go towards your expenses to your daily living. These people certainly don't behave like relatives, that's for sure. They don't care. Said before, relatives are hell. If I actually revealed the full extent of our relations, you would be even more despondent. But point I'm making is relatives are supposed to be those who care the most about you. But in my case, they're the ones that screw you over the most. Because all the instability that's been going on since January, it's all been the same two, three people playing shuffle and deciding you get to live here, you can't stay here. I'm gonna lock you out of this. I'm gonna throw you out of this. So I said, I'm just sick of all these bastards. So anytime they try calling me, I don't even answer because I won't you won't see one of those bastards try to sit there and go, hey, you know what? I shouldn't have done that. They never do that. This is the most bizarre thing I don't understand. Well, listen, Bagumi, I have had in the past some relatives that were very considerate and concerned, and in their, I still have some that are like that, but in their, for the most part, in their absence, we've had the hot-headed, egotistical crew coming through doing their thing, and that includes, being fine with throwing somebody out over anything, and uh, not honoring their commitments. And they tell you to do something, and then you do it, and then they're like, "All right, well now do this," and you're like, "To hell with that." Remember, I used to do those streams about living in the twilight zone. This is another example of it. I just want to make this very apparent to a Kotsky merchant because he wrote something earlier that to where he might be a little bit confused about. I'm not even saying it like as a joke or insult. Um, it's not my evil, landlord that threw me out. It's not the Klan. It's not Nazis. It's members of my own damn family. It's members of my family who, whether or not you pay something, whether or not you assist them in other ways, uh, they they could not care less if you don't fit into every single little box they've designated for you. They'll throw you to the curb. You don't matter to them. I mean, look at the spin artist. He was talking about, oh, the other person didn't mean it. It's been 4 months. Well, almost four. Well, yeah, yeah. Wow, yeah, because it was January 6th and happened. I have yet to see that bastard send me one message saying, "Hey, you used to stay over here with me, and I kind of miss you. Oh, are you all right?" Nothing because they don't care. They never did. Me not being there and them not saying anything is further proof of that. How is that a sustainable way to live? Yeah, that is what it comes down to. They don't care. Imagine what I would look like if I'm missing work twice every single week, and I'm like, This other person better give me that half a thousand. It's like, well, hell, bastard, if you worked a full, if you didn't miss 6 days out of the last 3 weeks, you would have your 500, and you wouldn't be harassing this other person for it. You'll be fine with having somebody else be homeless because they didn't want to pay you 5 times what they were already paying you, and that's supposed to be normal. And like I said, I've heard I they called me Tuesday, I didn't answer. It's not normal in the slightest. They called me Tuesday, I didn't answer, and they sent me this wall of text yesterday. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, it's so sad that within several days of just hearing nothing from me, I haven't gone back over there. They don't know what happened to me. They're fine with it. They don't care. They hear about, oh, maybe he's over here, maybe he's over there, but they're as far as like, hey, are you all right? Nothing. You don't love me or like me. Do you really think if I had someone that I lived with that I was related to and they just disappeared, I had no idea where they were, I'd be sending, and I don't know where they are because I tried to charge them 5 times. I was already charged them. I'd be sending them some weird message about, uh, oh, you're disrespectful and you don't like me or love me. And I told you to get a job and you can't just sit around and all this other, like, you really think that would be at anywhere near my priority list as a supposed concerned family member of this person? No, you wouldn't. So I said, normal people don't do this stuff. It is control. I can control you. So now, puppet, you will pay instead of 100 a month, 500 a month. They are the ones constantly attacking you. Yeah. People just don't care. You always manage to deal with the most psychotic people. You know what? I just accepted a long time ago that I have some pretty unstable you know, members of my family as far as like they say things that are not congruent with what they show, right? Their actions are different from their words. And I tried for as long as I could to, mitigate it and work around it and deal with it, but it's like it just keeps finding a way to surface up. And I told you the main takeaway from this is that appeasement doesn't work. These people will tell you to do something, you do it, then they just jump to something else. They all they do is want out of you, and then they, still will just spit you out and be like, "All right, whatever. You're not needed. You're unnecessary." And trust me, this person has no, like, the things Jove was writing were whatever, but this person has no shortage of I hate to keep saying this term, but spin artists. Like, not even the actual spin artist, the main one. They have another person that refuses to criticize them. $500 isn't once a month isn't bad. They really can justify it to themselves. And they've burned bridges with that person, and that person still sits there and defends them. They are crazy. They're crazy, and they're just a really lousy group. And like I said, in this period where it was hard for me to get a job, and difficult to find a place that didn't cost an arm and a leg every month. They really felt like they just controlled everything and they had all this power over me and you're our slave and you do what we want and we say bark, you say if we say jump, you say how high. But I told you that like I'm not above sleeping in a vehicle or under a bridge or anywhere if it means getting away from these people. If you have a crappy economic situation and crappy relatives, then I'll deal with the crappy economic situation. Wait, but you aren't even working. How does that one make that agreement when there isn't a steady income? The answer is they didn't care. I used savings to pay the 100 because 100 a month, it still to me, it wasn't that big of a deal as far as like I'd rather not be paying anything because again, I'm unemployed, but whatever. It was still something that I just gave them, or it was an amount that I could see myself being able to give them for the foreseeable future as this job situation, dragged out. Um, but they got angry and decided to, bump it up to 500, and I was like, all right, well, to hell with that. I agree with what you said there. People can justify anything, especially when surrounded by people always telling them they're right. It was just so sad to watch the person from yesterday. Because it's like on one hand, they want to tell you, "Oh, I don't want you to be on the street. No, it's dangerous." Da, da, da." But then in the same breath, they won't condemn the person they're defending, who is the agitator of this even happening. Because they came up to me on Monday and said, "Hey, give me the 119 you usually give me." It would have just been the same old situation because that was an agreement that we had. But this person breaks the agreement because they get their feelings hurt over stupid stuff, and decides to hold on to their resentment and try to like screw me over by paying this ridiculous amount of money now. But like I said, being unemployed was never a choice for me. It's not something I decided to be or wanted to be. It's just a thing that happened. And sitting there and trying to like put pressure on that person and stick a phone in their neck and tell them that they better do this. It's and the whole, thinking that that's going to make them suddenly materialize a job. It's not going to work. Especially when this is the same bastard. I didn't even mention this that dissuaded me from taking on multiple positions. I described this on a stream. I think it was the it might have been a you treat it like it's a job stream, but I was talking about how there was a trucking job that I was like open to doing where they show you how to drive or whatever, and they told me not to take it. They said, "Oh, you're not ready to do a job like this." So, like they're the same person that actively poo-poos on the different jobs that are showing a slight bit of interest, but then they'll be the first one to stick a knife in your back and tell you that you should have been employed by now. So I said, man, you just can't win with these bastards. I tell you, it is hard as hell to deal with these people. But yeah, they don't care if someone's not working. That's fine with them. As long as they can be their little vampiristic self and suck all the money out of you, they're okay with that. Which is why I said, um, you know, even if I had given them 500 this month and then, whatever the amount after that, eventually when I run out from like not having a job and being sucked of half a thousand every month, they would have still been like, all right, get out of here. You can't pay it, get out. No, you can't take them seriously. They're a joke, they're a douchebag, all types of stuff you can throw out there. And like I said, speaking to their parent and knowing that they didn't do this to them, it's a trait that they don't even have like a Floridian excuse for having. It's something that they just created among themselves, where they're constantly trying to like find a way to jip somebody out of money. They again are also constantly missing work, so you end up being the person that they try to get something out of, and they just use the excuse of like, oh, I'm mad that you did this or whatever to justify such a large increase, such a large abrupt increase. They are definitely a joke. I swear, what like these relatives over the last 8 months have been on a downward spiral. It's like, how low can you go? I mean, you can live with one of these bastards and you can do basically everything they say, and they'll make some request of you that's either too much or ridiculous. And because they think you're their slave, if you go, hey, look, I can't do this because of whatever reason, they'll go, then get out. And like I said, they think this is normal. They think it's normal to just anytime you get upset with somebody, you know, would you like to remember, do you want to have a place to live when you come back? It's like I would rather sleep in my car than be around these worthless pieces of garbage. They love using that word over and over again. Love, 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 love. This person doesn't like me, or you don't like me or love me. I said, and I want to ask this, not even like as a joke, just if someone was fine with making you homeless, would you like and or love them? Other than if you're a sadist. That would honestly really offend me if I was asked that same thing. Well, I was taken aback by it because I didn't. I mean, I've had arguments with people over, oh, you did this or whatever, but to like get so enraged over, somebody locking their door to where you even say that, I was like, that's nuts. But again, it's all in the pursuit of power. They all want to show they control somebody. And then you got the spin artist just spinning his wheels, making excuses. That too, that's something I can't comprehend by any means. It's ridiculous. Well, it's just been one ridiculous thing after another. I mean, you lock your door so somebody tells you, do you have a place to live when you come back? And then you uh, pay a certain amount every month until that person jacks it up times five and you leave. And then they try to make you feel bad. Like I said, if I ever did this stuff to people, there would be no defenses, no excuses, none of that crap. They would say, "Hey, you shouldn't have said this, shouldn't have done this." But when it's done to me, it's a okay. This person feels like you have money. It's like they're going to work. I'm not, and already getting some damn money out of me every month. God damn, dude! I swear, it's like being surrounded by just the most simplistic, brainless responses. Like they don't even think when they say this stuff. And then there is the job situation. We already talked about how much of a joke that is. Hire to fire scams, wasting your time with these dead end interviews. I mean, I can't tell you how many applications I filled out for these caregiver positions, and it's just the same old crap. You don't have, do you have a TB test? No, oh, we can help you get one. Do you have a CRT? No, oh, well, we can help you get one. And then it goes nowhere. It's just repeating itself over and every damn week. I wish you could have seen me at the end of April, like applying to all those places, drive here, right on this, right on that. And then it's like right after you get through a month of having your time wasted by these, I said it before, excrement employers, guess what happens? Sell me 500. Man, get out of my face. Just it's just obnoxious, man. It's just adding insult to injury, and it's all in the same pursuit of like this person is not sympathetic toward you because they think you want to be unemployed, regardless how much proof there is to the opposite of that. But they want you to be sympathetic toward them and give them the money that they would have if they would actually go to work 5 days a week every damn week like a normal person. Like I said, I'm past the point of caring about the stuff these people say or do because they've shown they're completely fine with me being destroyed, having nowhere to stay. Um, it's not something that bothers them at all. So I shouldn't be bothered at all with anything they have to say in response. You hate somebody, you love somebody so much, but then if they lock their door, you want to tell them that do they want to have a place to live when they come back. You love somebody so much, but then you're going to lock them out of their own damn house. Had the same lock there for 30 something years, and then you're going to sit there and change the whole damn thing just to make sure that one person can't come back. And that's love. You love somebody so much that you'll try to price gouge them from paying 119 a month to 500, and then when they can't pay 500 a month, you let them hit the streets and are fine with them being unemployed and homeless, and then want to send them a message to protect your image, talking about stop telling people I threw you out. That's why I said they're a joke. Like I said, I had a new. It was called the Triangle Scam. That video. I was writing pieces of the script to it. And look, I might even go to a library and type it up somewhere, some other public Wi-Fi place. But just don't expect it, relatively anytime soon because it's hard to. I think you can imagine edit stuff when you're in these public vicinities. Where there are definitely families slash relatives that hate each other, but this is something I've never heard of. Race isn't something I like to bring up, but from what I've noticed, this kind of thing seems to occur in black families. Oh, absolutely. Most definitely. There's a very clear racial component of it. And really it just has to come down to because I said before, like people as human beings are not they're not bad because of their race, right? Sometimes they're not even bad because of their upbringing. Because I would actually say that the parents of these two relatives were very decent people that were there for them, and as well as their various uh, aunts and uncles. It just comes down to a deterioration and a lack of being able to do what you say in a way that is noticeable and obvious to others around you. So, like I said, I've had relatives where they called me something, but then that same person provides you with a roof over your head. That same person tries to help you get a job. But when it comes to these other people, they're fine with your destruction. If you don't follow every single thing they want to a T, they'll be completely fine with you going out into the street out and out into the cold forever. All while lying up and down the street about how much they supposedly love you, because that's their get out of jail free card. Just if you want to treat someone like crap and completely be fine with destroying them and having no involvement in their success whatsoever, just keep saying, I love this person. I love this person. I love this person. There's a lot of sad stuff that happens in black families. Blacks kill each other 9 times out of 10. They have all these children out of wedlock. Um, but even like, even not even just from like a general statistic standpoint, they have a real antagonism towards each other that is all just unrivaled. Like I said, I've seen plenty of white families where the kids go to school and they live with their parents rent free, or they have a job and they live with their parents rent free. I haven't heard of any of my Caucasian or Hispanic friends having a parent or a legal guardian or some other higher up relative who's like, well, I'm glad you're paying 100 a month, but now let's make it 500 while you're unemployed. But that's what you do when you don't care. So it's definitely just another flaw in the overall character of some of these people. And like I said, things could be so much better. And I always make this point when we're talking about like how if things were just a little bit different, stuff wouldn't be anywhere near as bad. Like if places actually hired people and kept them on for more than a few weeks, and like understood the fact that when someone's never done something before, they're going to make mistakes. um and if businesses didn't sit here and waste people's time with these interviews that go nowhere, and if relatives that you live with entered agreements that they didn't suddenly break, things would be a hell of a lot better. Yeah, sadly, I have noticed this for a long time. It's not like I see this really with other races, really is unfortunate. I'm telling you, man, I tried so hard to make it work. I really did. That's the overarching theme with this. Things don't have to be this way. No, they don't. I mean, if you had someone who wasn't obsessed with because I said before, like that thing in January, like that, if it didn't happen over me locking the door when the person's going to clean the room, which it's like the door's been unlocked all day long, and only as I'm leaving are they gonna go, that's already weird. But like if that didn't cause it, then it would have been them complaining about me not taking the trash out, because apparently you have to take the trash out every day to live with that person. Uh just weird, man. But you know what I'm saying, of how like if those two things weren't factors, I still really didn't like that person. But like just when you're talking about the thing that happened this week, if this person had just kept the amount that they said I was supposed to pay when I first came over there, none of the events of this week would happen. I wouldn't have left. I wouldn't have not paid. And it's like this all stems from them bumping this amount up by this ridiculous amount. Remember, we talk about like marginal increases in wages, like you go from 15 to 17. It's not like they went from 119 to 150 or 200. We're talking about, I mean, Jesus Christ, I don't even think I spend 500 a month in just in terms of full spending. Like, I'm serious. Like, when I get food, at most it's maybe 200 a month. And then gas at most is maybe 100 a month. Again, depending on how much I'm traveling or whatever. Like, the amount they want is absurd. And they remember it's not like a one time. They want this every damn month. That's why I said it. Things don't have to be this way because if they had just kept the original amount they wanted, I'd have paid that and I wouldn't have left. But because they wanted to bump it up times five, you know, this situation broke out. Yeah, when people don't care about somebody, they're fine with this type of stuff happening to them. Like I said, I tried as hard as I could to keep that house of cards from crumbling over. But when people are like triggered by very mind, and that's why I said that, like, I don't care how many bills somebody pays. If you have a personality where you just get mad over any damn things, the point of cursing and making threats and telling this person they can go sleep in a cardboard box, it's like, you're still just as unstable as any other scenario. Which is why I said that, like, I don't regret that that like thing happened in January, like with the door lock or whatever. Because if it wasn't that, it would have just been them losing their marbles over me not taking the trash out every single goddamn day, even though they're the ones who they're the one who's there all day long, but they can't take it out themselves, even though it's such a big deal and needs to be done every day. Figure that one out. Yeah, things don't have to be the way they are in a lot of cases, which makes stuff all the more sad when you just consider how, like, if things just changed a little bit, they wouldn't be anywhere as awful as they are. But you're not dealing with people who want to improve anybody's life. They just want to, see what they can get out of you. And if you're ever not entirely subservient to them, then they'll just throw you away like a piece of, trash. Oh, it's hard to be online in the modern day. It really is. All these different websites and configurations. It's like they are plotting your downfall. It's hard to argue with that because, like, I mean, you have one person who's like, I don't care, he can go wherever, and then the other one's like, oh, he can come over here, and then they eventually gets, By the way, I thought it was really funny that there's this guy who's conservative, and because I mentioned before that, like, I tried to call my secretary, and I haven't tried to call them since because I was so disgusted by the way that they acted, but um, I called the Secretary of State's office, and they kept transmitting different numbers. I related that story already. But what was funny is that he's like a conservative person who doesn't agree with me on anything. And when he's like, I guess, heard I was thinking of running for the House or whatever, he was like, I'm not going to stop you. Give it your best. Nothing's impossible. And I was just thinking it's funny how, like, the person who doesn't even like me is more supportive than the people who I'm related to. Like, that's how backward stuff is now. Sorry, I got a hiccup. It just has to do with people just not being sympathetic. Uh, and always looking for a way to put you down. You don't have a job. I got in the car with the spin artist back in December, and he was like, even though you're an adult, you can't take care of yourself. I was like, yeah, stupid bastard. Maybe if the same what is it, three relatives that sat there and talked about how important going to college was would have actually footed the bill, I'd be able to. Or if these jobs actually hire somebody for more than 5 seconds. Yeah, the people with inheritance are always the ones who tell somebody else about what they can and can't do. And it's like that's what drives me crazy. Like they don't like no amount of success that that person has, or the one that did the do you have a place to? It's like none of their success comes from them being these amazing, upstanding citizens who like invented something. And I mean, everything they have, they got from waiting for somebody else to die. Like, are you kidding me? That's who's going to tell you about what success is and isn't. But yeah, it's all about putting somebody down. And that's why I tried to explain to that person that offered to mediate yesterday. I said, listen, this person has convinced himself that I don't want to work, even if that's the furthest thing from the truth. And that causes them to be not sympathetic toward me, uh, you know, in these pursuits. So they're going to just keep on, trying to accuse me of sitting around. And man, I wish I sat around. Like, I swear, every day is driving to a different interview or talking to some different employer, or there's very few days where I can just sit at the house all day. That's what they do on the weekend or on their days off. They just sit in their room. Oh yeah, inheritance. That bastard didn't have that house because they worked for it. The one that did the place to live when you come back. No, they're somebody else died and they inherited it. But that's the person that's going to lecture you about success. It's like this the same. I mean, like it's such a joke, dude. It's a gag. Trust me, if the rest of us had parents that we could just wait to die to get money from, we would all be. Dude, my favorite thing was 2 years ago when they tried to stick themselves in like because I said before what my school situation was, right? Where I applied to different places, got into a university, they wanted 30,000, it was cut down to 12,000. I couldn't afford it, didn't go. Um, but they tried to stick this is like 2018. They tried to dig this dead carcass about college back up 3 years later. And they were talking about they said they had some kind of line about this about me being responsible. I'm thinking to myself, dingbat, you're the same one who got knocked up when you were a teenager, and the only reason you don't have to uh, pay for a kid to go to school is because you went to the chopping shop. Like that's the person who's going to lecture you about responsibility. You're no more a critical thinker than any of the hookers down the street are. Like, give me a break. They really do need to get off their high horse. They don't have any records that we're supposed to be impressed by. Somebody gonna try to tell you about responsibility, and then they got knocked up when they were a teenager. And the only reason they didn't have to drop out of school to take care of their baby is because they put it in the mortuary or the morgue or whatever. And like I said, I support people having the right to get rid of whatever they don't want. But my thing is like, don't come to me talking about like I made all these big mistakes. Give me a break. That was real funny when the spin artist was like, he called this other person a pay girl. I'm like, man, have you seen all the nasty things people have been writing about me online for years, and you really want me to care about what I called somebody? Give me a break. They love their high horse. They love sitting here and pretending like they're so accomplished and successful and they've made it and all this other crap, but they haven't. You know the one that did this thing this week hasn't made it because they wouldn't be begging me for half $1,000. Like I said, I don't feel bad about the terminology that's being used here because this person is completely fine with me being homeless. They don't care. Same thing with the other two. But all these people love me so much. Like I said, it's just sad. The irony of the people who spout out advice, their own experience contradicts their advice. Oh, yes. Imagine what I would look like if I was over here telling you about you need to get a job and all this other crap, and then you find out I moved back in with my parents when I was in my 30s and 40s. Like I'm way older than you are now, and I'm still like going and moving back in with my parents because my landlord is raising rent. Or and it's like, again, I don't make fun of people for not wanting to end up without a place to stay, but like, don't sit here and try to act like you're this big success story. You're not. So I said they're just a really obnoxious group of people. Like, when I did that stream about the beginning of the end, I was not kidding, because that's what it's been ever since September. Just people, just like you wrote earlier, Megumi, plotting my downfall. And I feel bad from the standpoint of, I know if things were a little bit different, this none of this would be happening. But I also feel not bad knowing that I tried to keep the house of cards intact. Like, you put up with all the stuff these people do, and they just keep picking and picking and picking and picking and picking and complain about this and complain about that and complain. And you just, at a certain point, you're like, damn it, like, when does it end? And you're really supposed to sit there and feel bad. Oh, this person is mad at me. Like, I don't care. They're fine with me being homeless. Like, you think I care if they're mad that while I'm sitting over here sleeping in my car? That's a thing that crosses my mind. Yeah, all their advice is just a bunch of lies. Say one thing, do the opposite. They always want to pull yourself up with from your bootstraps, and then you look at their straps, and they're sitting over there getting them from somebody else. I see a Koski merchant probably left. He went to go and watch some more rerun footage of the coronation. He decided to dip. He didn't even show up for that long either. That's what I noticed. Scroll back down. I remember when when it was the ding about the baby was like, if you want to meet a woman, you have to work to get her to like you. And then you find out all her boyfriend did to for work supposedly was just to go up and say that he liked her. That's like, that was the work that he did. So all the advice that these people give is just contradicted by like any of the stuff that's happened to them. Who could forget Triple L talking about uh oh, I'm older than you, so you should listen to me, and I know what you should have done, and blah blah blah. And then you find out that she's sitting over there with like going into her damn near mid 30s, still going on Tinder and all these other nasty websites to try and get some banana. But that's the person that you're supposed to look to and believe in the romantic advice of. Yeah, their advice doesn't even match what they tell you to do. I remember I made this point. I said, like my grandpa would give me romantic advice, like well, at least with him, that was someone who was married for over 40 years, and like you actually could believe that they knew what they were talking about because they you saw it in their own life that they lived happily ever after. But when you're talking about these people, these faceless computer people, and even some of these chicks that are like saying stuff and they don't have any proof that they're actually with a man or that's been like a lasting thing, yeah, the hell with them. Like, don't listen to that trash. Yes, their advice is not in step with the things that have actually transpired in their lives. They tend to be two different things. They say something and then the advice is like, not really. Advice is like, oh yeah, they wanted you to believe this. Well, tough break, man. No, it's true. You had Triple L talking about eventually you'll meet someone. It's like, broad, you're literally going into your mid 30s and you're still sitting on Tinder and Grinder and uh humpthebump.com and all these other places looking for banana. Too many people are preaching about relationship stuff. Who preach about relationship stuff do this. Yeah. And then you got the dating coaches, and they're not, if they have a girlfriend, that's it, or they're like divorced or whatever. Like, give me a break. They always want to sit there and try to wag their finger at you and tell you that you should have done this or you should have followed. And then you look at their own lives, and it's the reverse of that. Megumi, right now, there's a guy leaving some unsolicited advice comments to me talking about. Um, Let me go and read that trash. That'd actually be really funny if. Wait a second. Oh, I hope that wasn't who I think it was. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh my god, that's the same guy. Wow. Let me see if I can get Google Speech to read this because I don't want to read his whole thing. It's stupid anyway. I pride myself on being good with usernames. Like I really do pride myself on being good with usernames, like remembering who's who, and I've seen this person, that person. So that Jove person that showed up earlier, this is what he wrote on what's that video called? Uh your age invalidates your opinion. Hold on, let me put it in the Google speech.
Okay, young one, the problem is clearly that you don't understand girl-boy interactions at all. This is not an insult. It's someone else pointing to your blind spot. And it appears your audience is equally blind.
We're all
You were
blind.
dealing with a woman who liked you. Therefore, the conversations were about subtext and innuendo, not about whatever garbage you were blabbing about and so eager to intellectually defend. Let me translate that 20-year-old text message for you. All you need is to visualize some hottie who's head over heels over you saying this while she sits on your lap, smacks her lips and puts her arms around your neck. Well, handsome, I think
What
you're
the
some
hell?
hot stuff. They're lost. You're young, smart and I intend to get you into bed one way or other. Just say some seductive nonsense and I'm yours. Now, a guy with a clue would give her some quick, okay maybe you're right, and you're looking pretty good from where I'm sitting spiel. But not you. Instead you get offended and annoyed and want to win the argument, completely missing the opportunity. And, hey, I don't blame you, truly, men haven't been taught how to understand women, especially not by women who are solely invested in raising simps, and also can never acknowledge that 50 to 90% of what they say is plainly false or not related to what they want to communicate at all. I definitely see why you made the choice to stay away. Have done so myself. But I strongly suspect no one has really clued you into how these things actually work,
How they
and you're
actually
therefore
work.
severely deficient in some key areas you're not even aware of. Female communication drama being one of them, apparently. Sadly, I can't really recommend resources because the red pill was cooped by PUA scammers. The black pill has no answers for your status, and the horrid truth is, 99% of the juice is still not worth the squeeze. I got lucky several times in my life,
Yeah, I
but in
believe
Gen
that.
X and I know things have changed drastically. Still, look at my read of the text message versus yours. See the disconnect? Perhaps that interaction could have gone very differently, and positively, if you were in on the subtext. Could help you out to learn if something similar comes up ever again.
I will not be seeking his advice. Let me tell you how much of an idiot this guy is. Um, the original message that's shown in that video about like, oh, you're this age and it's stat you shouldn't be complaining about your love life. That whole topic was initiated by that bimbo thinking that I was trying to flirt with her, literally just because I was a male that was talking to her from the internet. Like I said nothing romantic whatsoever, and then she's like, I'm 7 years into something. Now, if we're giving her the benefit of the doubt and assuming that she's telling the truth about being with some guy for whatever amount of years, why in the world would I think, as she's being condescending to me afterward, that she's trying to like flirt with me? Like, because it, like her original message that turned me off to even talking to her, period, was her saying, I'm not interested in you romantically, person who has not done anything to indicate they're romantically interested in me, but I still feel like we're you anyway. You should have flirted with this woman who said she does not want to flirt or be attracted to you because she is interested in other men. Oh, he really said several key areas. Like this is a dating course. And everyone is wrong except that guy. Remember, I told you that a lot of these people they make up statistics, like they have no evidence of things, but they just like say this random percentage is true. Uh, and also can never acknowledge that 50 to 90% of what they say is plainly false. According to what? Does he have a poll? Remember, we had the poll where it was like 60, like most guys between 18 and 29 are single in America. It's like, does he have a poll that says 50 to 90%? No, he doesn't. He's just made a number up. Everyone is incorrect except I was really thinking, I was like, this guy types fairly similar to something else. Because what happened was I was making my triangle scam video over the weekend, and then this thing happened on there is no proof. There is no proof. But what's funny is that in the same comment where he's talking about how I'm so blind and I don't know anything about girl boy interactions, he admits that he stopped speaking to women just as I did. So apparently, knowing the interactions doesn't make a damn difference if we're going to end up with the same results. I'm telling you, man, these people have lost their minds. They say some of the weirdest, craziest, unsubstantiated, unproven trash. And it's always these faceless guys that show up and give their unwanted, unsolicited, unsought, undesired advice. This guy literally contradicts himself. Remember, there's two sides to every story. I was really one. I was like, his username seems familiar, but I don't know if I've seen him before. But when he started doing that, there's two sides thing. No Cerritos. God, what a jerk! Like you have to be the most egotistical prick on earth to be like, most men have no idea how to speak to women. Well, hell, do you know how to speak to them? If so, why are you watching about videos from a guy who, according to you, doesn't? Could help him. Could help you out to learn. Yeah, I'll be actively seeking his advice. I was like, why did these messages seem so familiar? Like when he was typing, you were dealing with a woman who liked you. No, she didn't. She had a funny way of showing it because you know Megumi, when you like somebody, you tell them that you're not interested in them and you're dating someone else. That's what you do when you like somebody. Oh my god. Men haven't been taught how to understand women, especially not by women who are solely invested in raising whatever, and also can never acknowledge that 50 to 90% of what they say is plainly false or not related to what they want to communicate at all. Whereas the evidence to support this claim equals nothing. Dude, I swear all these guys are the same. Like they all show up, type in their paragraphs that of advice that nobody wanted, sought, or desired at all. They all try to tell you that you're missing something. It's like, all right, if we're so damn blind, why are you showing up to my stream? You like sitting around with blind people? Is Stevie Wonder your favorite artist? Is your favorite comic book character Daredevil? Like, God, these are some like I'm not even joking. These guys are weirder than the women. Like you won't see the women come on my stream trying to like, do I want to tell you that you need to they don't do that. But these guys will really sit there and be like, this entire channel is run by a blind person with blind supporters, and that's why I'm going to show up to his next stream. Weird, man. I hope he never comes back. But knowing them, you have to get rid of them manually to get him to go. And his logic was also, you're inadequate, and I'm going to instantly repeat this until I gaslight you into believing it. Always the man's fault. When I read that username, I was like, this seems so familiar. You were dealing with the woman who liked you. Oh, they're all jerks. Like, listen, all the guys that give the unwanted advice tend to fall under that same umbrella of like, they hide their face. That's the first thing that most of them do. Some of them show it, but it's like a shot like this or some other picture that doesn't really let you see them in full because they want to like pretend they have muscles. So they hide their face. They have no evidence of anything they say or do, and sometimes they even make up stuff like the 50 to 90% statistic that he just pulled out of his booty. They're very antagonistic. You're blind. You can't see. So you know, if one like you could pull one of those guys from like 2017 or 18 out of like that year and stick them in this year, and it would be the same thing. Some of them are trying to be a little bit more nicer about it because YouTube has curtailed some of that foul language that they use, but even then, they still come in here and write that crap. Where's my favorite part? Oh, let me put my glasses on. I can't even read it. Uh, Not about whatever garbage you were blabbing about and so eager to intellectually defend. I mean, like, my thing is if my comments and statements are garbage to him, why is he watching my stream? You like 2 hours of garbage? You go out and hang out at the damn junkyard for hours on end. Like, what is this? I've been attacked just for liking an anime character who were considered weak. Well, in a lot of those Japanese cartoon communities, they only care about power levels and how strong somebody is, and all the rest of the stuff that really doesn't actually constitute a good story. Man, that was bad. And I was so close to putting that in the triangle scam video because it was gonna be like, oh, here's another one of these guys that gives their advice that nobody wants to hear because it's useless. But I like I said, this week has just been me dealing with that fallout from Monday. That's why I usually don't engage with these topics or conversations on anime. Oh, me neither. Because the only thing that matters about a character is how strong they are. That guy's hilariously stupid. When I saw that username and he started typing that thing, because I remembered that the one that wrote, he didn't just write on that video, he wrote on like three different videos, but like the one that wrote on that video, I remember he had like no avatar and he had like it was like a brownish color. I was like, why does this guy seem so familiar? And man, when that thing started appearing, I was like, oh, it's him. It's the guy. I just didn't recognize it, and because I was just how it is. I'm just talking about like the stuff with other people as well, so I'm not really paying him that much attention. That's crazy. But look, I'm gonna get off of here because I think we've pretty much said everything we need to state. I just hope you understand it's been a really hard week. Being homeless is no fun. When you're dealing with people with and having relatives who couldn't care less about you is not exactly appealing either. Uh, but it's something I'm dealing with, and I'm trying to fight as hard against it as I can. And if I die, at least I don't have to see any of these crappy relatives again. That's the one silver lining, because I need these people like a car needs a rust bucket. Just they're awful. So I will try to stream again on Monday if I can get a better connection than the one at that lousy Starbucks. But thanks for showing up. Thanks for the continued support, and I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Thanks for showing up, Megumi. Thanks for showing up, Akatsuki Merchant. And there were some other people that were there at the start, but whatever. They're not, they're those one timers. So have a good rest of your day, and also all hail King Charles.